Drop!
What's going on? This is Mike, and you're checking out To Be Continued with me, your host. This is where we talk about comics, movies, and other cool ish. Now, if you're new to the channel, I'd love for you to hit the thumbs up and subscribe, but more importantly, keep your arms inside this vehicle until this ride comes to a complete stop, because we're about to pick up right where we left off. Now, if you haven't done so, check out our first 2 episodes right here on this channel. It'll bring you up to speed to where we're at. And where we're at is breaking down episode 3 of WandaVision. The intro starts off full-blown 1970s style. We have an intro that mashes up a Brady Bunch and Partridge Family type of vibe. It's in full color, and we get shots of Wanda and Vision walking through town where they're interacting with our supporting cast, but they're also shopping and prepping for their baby. You might notice the hexagon shapes are taking the spots of the blocks from the Brady Bunch, but like I said, that intro tune is reminiscent of the Partridge Family. With the intro out of the way, we now catch up with Wanda and Vision on the couch. They're talking to Dr. Nielsen, who's going over Wanda's pregnancy. Vision starts visibly getting confused because all this happened overnight, while the doctor's telling him that Wanda's about 4 months pregnant. To make things simple, he compares that at 4 months, she'll be as big as a pear. 5 months, a papaya. 6 months, a grapefruit. 7 months, a pineapple. 8 months, a honeydew. Vision, still and more confused, starts throwing a whole bunch of hypothetical questions at the doc, and Wanda puts a brace on the conversation and asks Vision to walk Dr. Nielsen out. The doc says that he and his wife were off to Bermuda this afternoon, and that Vision was very lucky to catch him when he did. I'm sure I'm dating myself here, but we've all heard the expression, keep it on the down low. Here, Vision is actually going to ask the doc to keep things on the EL, even lower. You see, he doesn't want anyone to know that Wanda's 4 months pregnant when she wasn't 12 hours ago. The doc ends up making his way out, and Vision looks over to see Herb cutting his bushes, but when you look closely, he's actually cutting through the bricks that separates Vision and his property. When Vision points it out, Herb just kind of looks at him and says, "Would you look at that?" Vision makes his way in, notices that Wanda's actually looking about 6 months pregnant. They both chat a bit, and they start working on the nursery when Wanda gets butterflies in her stomach. And then suddenly, you know that shit that hangs over a baby's crib? Well, they have one, and it's butterflies. And when she says that, the butterflies become real. Wanda states, "Did I do that? I didn't mean to." After thinking about it, Vision tells Wanda that she looks about 6 months pregnant. He ends up bringing the name Billy as a possibility, and after William Shakespeare. He quotes that the whole world is a stage and everyone's an actor, while Wanda chooses the name Tommy because it's an all-American name for an all-American boy. Now, for the casual fans, this might not mean a damn thing to you. For the Marvel heads, we're going apeshit. They just name drop Speed and Wicked, who are young Avengers. Now, I know you don't know who they are, but in about 3 to 5 years, these motherfuckers are going to take over, along with other members, Stature, Ant-Man's daughter, Hawkeye, who'll be previewed in an upcoming Disney Plus series, Patriot, and you know what? I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's get back to what we came here to discuss. Wanda, Vision are now looking at the wall, which is actually having a stork magically painted on it. Vision calculates that in about 3 days, on Friday, Wanda is going to be ready to give birth. He starts to practice his diaper changing skills, and Wanda starts to experience contractions. One after another, it starts making the whole house bug out as they get crazier and crazier. It all ends with Vision and Wanda running into the living room, striking that classic MCU pose, while all the effects that are going on ends in a big bright flash. We know that this is happening all over town because we cut to Phil and Dottie's house, where the same thing happens and actually saves Phil from answering Dottie's question. Long story short, the whole block is out. Now, class, I need each and every one of you to pay real close attention to what happens next, because Vision and Wanda start talking about their neighbors finding out the truth about them. It shifts the conversation and the mood to a more serious, dark tone, because Vision thinks it's more than that. He starts talking about the hearts from episode 1, the town folk acting strange in episode 2, and what just happened outside with her. He starts to trail off, and the scene kind of starts glitching out and jumps resets itself to where it started. It takes a different route, a more fit for TV vibe for a couple that's expecting, your typical sitcom trope. Suddenly, labor pains go into fifth gear, water starts raining inside the house, which indicates Wanda's water just broke. And right on schedule, we have a commercial break from our sponsor.
You read my mind. Come with me. Escape to a world all your own, where your problems float away. When you want to get away, but you don't want to go anywhere. Hydrosoak. Find the goddess within.
And now back to our regularly scheduled fucking show. After returning from our commercial break, we see that Wanda's using her powers to dry herself, Vision, and the entirety of the house up. Still a little shaken, Vision makes his way over to the phone to call the doctor. Unfortunately, the phone lines are still down, so he decides to make it there on foot so he can bring the doctor back. Now, Wanda gets startled twice. First by a noise that she hears coming out of the nursery, and the second one by the doorbell. With a coat over her belly, Wanda starts to talk to Geraldine, who's come over to borrow a bucket, because she says her place is flooded with water. Wanda makes her way into the kitchen, and when she does, her contractions kick into overdrive. Her magic kicks in as well, transforming her first coat into a raincoat into a mink coat. After this, Geraldine starts telling Wanda a crazy story about work, and in the background, we see where that noise from before is actually coming from. A stork is walking around the living room, out of the line of sight of Geraldine. For some reason, as the conversation continues, Geraldine snaps out of this TV reality just for a bit. Easily, Wanda slaps her back into character, only to go into labor. Holy shit! Wanda lays on the floor, and as she's screaming, the house is going completely bonkers. Geraldine helps Wanda deliver the first baby, and Vision makes his way in just in the nick of time with Dr. Nielsen. The second baby is about to be born. She's having twins. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Tommy and Billy. Everything seems fine. Vision actually walks the doctor out. The doctor makes a comment about walking because of the speed that Vision used to get him back to the house. And then he makes a remark about being unable to make his trip because it's hard to escape this town. As the doctor leaves, Vision catches Agnes and Herb outside, who start to ask about Geraldine. Meanwhile, Geraldine is inside with Wanda and the twins. They're talking about the babies, and Wanda brings up that she was a twin. She says Pietro was her brother, and for some reason Geraldine snaps out of it and actually tells Wanda he was killed by Ultron. The music shifts, we're back to that dark tone, and Wanda says, "What did you say?" What comes next is a weird and wild back and forth. Vision's outside with Agnes, who's making comments about Geraldine having no husband, no family, and no home here. Inside, Wanda's pushing Geraldine about what she just said about Pietro and Ultron, while obviously Geraldine's trying to duck the question. Outside, Herb is trying to tell Vision something. Inside, Wanda spots the medallion, the sword emblem, that's wrapped around Geraldine's neck. Agnes tells Herb, "Stop it, stop it." Geraldine tells Wanda, I. Out of nowhere, Agnes switches the tone, yells out, "Well, gotta go." Herb looks at Vision, does the old catch on the flip side. Exit stage left. We then cut back to the living room, where we catch Wanda looking over the twins and Vision making his way back in the house. He asks Wanda, "Where's Geraldine?" And Wanda simply replies, she had to rush home. We then cut outside of town, where we see Geraldine flying through the fucking air, being shot out of this alternate TV reality. Daydream Believer starts to play as helicopters and a military team concentrate on Geraldine, who's passed out in a field. This is how we're going to end episode 3. And remember, this is just the first third of this series. We want to thank you for watching. Please hit the thumbs up, the subscribe button, and make sure you tell a friend and tell a friend. As always, a big thank you to Bobcat the Legend for supplying the beats in the background. Here's his YouTube page, and here's his Spotify page. This is To Be Continued. I'm your boy Mike, and I'll catch you on the next one.